Hello, students. So we are back at our daily edit. Now, the daily edit is going to say 111 because I had planned on it last week, and then we really wanted to focus on Racial Justice Week. So I scrapped it. So it is the correct week. That's why I put the little cross off and changed it to 19. All right, so there are 4 errors in this first sentence. When money was first produced in the United States in 1793, they was made of metal. Let's take a look at what is the correct way for this sentence to be. When money was first produced in the United States in 1793, comma, it was made of metal. Now, be very careful because there's 2 capitalizations, but that's one error. I can consider the United States as one name. It's not 2 separate names. Although it's 2 different words, it's one title. And so that I don't consider 2 separate. So that is one, United States is one. The comma after 1793, because of the dependent clause that's at the beginning of the sentence, changing they to it. And then the last one is the period at the end of the sentence. Very, very, very important. All right, the next sentence. At that time, a law says that all money must be made from gold, silver, or copper. Let's take a look at the correction. At that time, and then we have a comma. Remember last week, the last time we did no red ink, we did comma with an introductory phrase, or one of the ones we did, comma with an introductory phrase in order to avoid confusion. At that time, a law said that all money must be made from gold, comma, silver, comma, or copper. So we've got the introductory comma. We changed the law says to said because it's past tense. And then we have a series of 3 different things, and we need a comma after and in between each series. So gold, comma, silver, comma, or copper, and then a period at the end of the sentence. I know it seems very duh, of course we have a period there, but I can't tell you how many times I see periods without, or sentences without periods at the end. All right, the last one is we have to choose which is the highlight the sentence that is the incorrect way to combine the following sentences. So there's 2 different ways you can combine these sentences, and then there's incorrect ways. So there's 2 ways on here that are correct and one is not correct. So we have paper money was printed in 1862. The dollar bill replaced the silver dollar. So we want to combine those sentences and make one complex sentence. When paper money was printed in 1862, comma, the dollar bill replaced the silver dollar. So here we've added a when and put a comma. Paper money was printed in 1862, comma, the dollar replaced the silver dollar. Just smushing those 2 sentences with just a comma. And then the last one, paper money was printed in 1862, semicolon, the dollar bill replaced the silver dollar. The correct way, or sorry, the 2 correct ways that are grammatically correct to join these sentences are the top one and the bottom one, 1 and 3. Number 2 is the incorrect way. This is called a comma splice, where you splice together 2 sentences that need to be separate with a comma. Now, when you add the word when at the beginning of the sentence, you're making that first part depend on the second part. It's called a dependent clause. And then you add a comma, and then the sentence is grammatically sound because one needs the other. In the third example, we use a semicolon. A semicolon is stronger than just a comma. It means essentially what you're communicating to the person reading the sentence is that these 2 go together very closely and they can be linked together. There is more to this thought. So adding a semicolon or adding a comma with a subordinating conjunction, which makes that beginning of the sentence, again, dependent on the second half, which is what makes that comma work. Those are the 2 correct ways to combine these sentences. And the one in the middle is the incorrect way. So double check your work and see how you did. Now we're going to move on to the no red ink for the week. I'll be right back with you. All right, so some of you are going to be doing a practice where you are capitalizing the names of buildings and schools. So you really want to focus, and you want to look when you begin the lesson, you want to look at the focus so that you are not wondering, what on earth am I focusing on here? Because that would get overwhelming. It would get overwhelming for me, and I'm an English teacher, if I was like, oh, I'm not really sure what the focus is. So make sure that you are focusing. Some of you are going to be focusing on capitalizing buildings and schools. Here's a little bit of a preview of what those might look like. Again, double check, make sure you're looking at what your focus is when you begin, and then you're going to hit begin and practice. I'm going to go through a couple of them. Martenstein was amazed by the view from the top of the tower. Now, the tower, unless that's the name of it, you wouldn't capitalize it. Now, if it was the Sears Tower, the CN Tower, the Hublin Tower, then it has a name. So if it's just a generic, the desk, the building, the school, unless the whole name of the school, the tower, the desk, the building is there, you do not capitalize. Resubmit, and that's correct. After she visited the auditorium at the middle school, Shuri decided to join the drama club. Now, it doesn't say which middle school, so middle school would be lowercase. If it said John F. Kennedy Middle School or Aerospace Middle School, then it would be capitalized. After she visited the auditorium at the middle school. Oh, I didn't lowercase that school part. The whole thing needs to be lowercase. There we go. Amused by the prank, Fox laughed and began to plan the greatest stunt Johnson High School would ever see. So we have Johnson High School. It is the whole name. It is proper. So we submit the answer. Okay. Now we're going to exit this, and I'm going to go over the other assignment. The next one is comma to separate adjectives, and this is connected to what we just did in our activity, in our daily edit, separating adjectives. So again, double check to make sure what your focus of the lesson is. Very, very important. If you just click begin, you're not going to know what the focus is, and then when you see the instructions, you're going to be a little bit confused. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to do a couple with you. Whoops. So you can click the lesson and see, okay, this is what the focus is. I see. You can look at all of that. I highly recommend. Some of them are interactive, which is really nice. Commas, separating adjectives. Sometimes writers use more than one adjective to describe the same noun. In these cases, you may not need a comma. Tell me more. To decide if the adjective needs a comma between them, ask yourself, does the sentence sound natural with the word and between the adjectives? Does the sentence sound natural if you switch the order of the adjectives? If the answer is yes, to the both questions is yes, place a comma between the adjectives. Ralph found smooth and shiny pebble on the beach. Ralph found the shiny, smooth pebble on the beach. There's two adjectives there, so you just want to separate them to clarify. You could add the word and, or you could add the word or add the comma there. If the answer to either of the questions is no, do not place a comma between the adjectives. Wendy brought 2 delicious pies to the bake sale. Wendy brought 2 and delicious does not make sense. You would not put those together. Wendy brought delicious 2 pies. So if you can swap them or put an and in there, you need the comma. If you can't swap them or put an and in there, you do not need the comma. Here, it wouldn't make sense to say 2 and delicious pies or delicious 2 pies, so you don't need a comma between 2 and delicious. What else? Oops. Keep in mind that you shouldn't place a comma between an adjective and the noun it describes. So if there's only one, you do not put a comma. Taylor lives near an enormous shopping mall. Try it out. Layla's going to wear her favorite blue jacket to the party. In the sentence below, do the adjectives favorite and blue need a comma between them? Let's try it. Favorite and blue jacket to the party is kind of awkward. Her blue favorite jacket to the party is kind of awkward. So I would say no. And we got it right. One more, and then we'll go on to the lesson. We had to drive along narrow, winding roads to get home. In the sentence below, is a comma placed correctly? Well, narrow and winding are the two adjectives, not winding and roads. So the comma is not placed correctly. All right, and here's the lesson and the activities. Adam grabbed the metal fishing pole from the mermaid's hand. All righty, so we are going, here's the directions. Now, do we need to have a comma between metal and fishing type pole? I say we do not need it. Correct. So we want to, again, try swapping them and try adding and to see if you need a comma. Sarah, fix any punctuation or capitalization errors below. Click Submit Answer. Sarah Lance dove into the sparkling, shimmering pool at the bottom of the waterfall. Sparkling and shimmering are the two adjectives. Can we swap them? Shimmering and sparkling? Yes, we can. Could we say shimmering and sparkling pool? Yes, we could. So we do need to have that comma between these two adjectives. All right, you guys, you are ready for this. You are 100% ready. Go ahead and kill it. I'll be grading this and putting it in the grade book by Sunday. Happy grammar practice.